Hi everybody, this is Akano or Razor, like just whoever you know me by. Coming to give you guys another tank review. This time another tier 11, but this is going to be the AMX 67, otherwise known as the Imbattable. This is the tier 11 that follows after the AMX 50B. And honestly, this is one that I find that's very underrated right now. A lot of people are talking about T803, the Hacker, the Tasserat, being the top of the line. But I think this is really like a hidden gem that nobody really like speaks on, or like I see too much in the battle as of right now. Because I guess a lot of people just don't care for the 50B, or they're just not used to how the 50B playstyle is. But I've been playing this thing. I'm averaging about 4 to 5,000 damage a game in it, and it's got a very unique mechanic in it in terms of which we'll get into. But yeah, it plays just like a 50B. It's a little bit slower in terms of a 50B. Like this, to me, I think it's a little bit bigger because I couldn't hide in some places that like I can normally do with a 50B. But the gun on it is very, very nice, as we'll get into that here. Like just now, just for mind you now, I don't have the full upgrades on this as I am still getting towards the tank right now. But 265 base pen right now, it's at 423 because of how my crew bump works the setting. You got 420 base average damage on it, a 31-second reload, 2.5-second interclip per shot. So it's a very, very nice gun. 0.3 DAC dispersion, 2.1 aim time. Like this, it's very reliable because you see the stats and stuff I got on it. Armor, again, it's not really going to have it. You can get those, ricochet bounces, that you can pull off. Decent hit points at 2350. Some tier 10s already have that. So for a tier 11, top speed on this is 70. This is also due to me having a turbo on right now and with the engineer perk, so I'm up at 70 like that. Nice engine power, 1500 horse. Again, no camo. It's got decent spotting. Basically standard stuff here. Um, it's got a nice 120 millimeter here, so it's like 410 as you see here. But I believe with the upgrades, that's why it's up to 420 as you can see there. Uh, and speaking of the upgrades on it, so the upgrades on this is the main ones here that you want to try to get to as when you can is the improved loading mechanism. So this will go into the uh, how is it, the ability of the Imbattable, which is unique, and I actually find at times it's actually very useful. So going into what the loading system does. So the system automatically begins loading a new set when one shell remains in the current when keeping you ready to engage. You can still fire the final shot during this process, but doing so adds several seconds to the reload. So there's two ways that this gets engaged, right? So the two ways it gets engaged is if you're firing normally, and let's say you get down to your last shot, it starts loading the other three shells. The last final shell is still chambered and ready for you to fire, and it's blinking. Now, while your set thing is loading, you're not loading at the full amount of time like you normally do with 30 seconds with it. You're loading about 25 to load those other three shells in as long as you hold on to that last shell. Now, if you fire that shell at any point in time during that reload, it's then going to add that second time that would take for that final shell onto the remaining time. So if you're at 16, it's going to add, I believe, 5 to make it, so you're back up at that 30 seconds. So if you're at 60 seconds, it's going to put that reload. You'll hear a noise on it to where it's, uh, working. But I think here we could play a little thing here so you can actually see what I'm talking about here with this. We'll just use there. Boom. And see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Like this, to where it's sitting here doing the loading mechanic. You got less time on your reload like you normally would do, because it's loading in, but you still have that final shell. Now, if you shoot that shell while it's in the loading of the process, it's going to add the additional time, as you see right here, and doesn't take away the loading standard of those other shells. So, now you gain another couple seconds, you fired a shell, but here you go firing again at the full thing. Now, the two ways you can do this is firing down when you're at your last shell, just firing, or when you actually hit the C key to actually reload the magazine yourself, it does it for you too, the same process. So you can do two ways: firing down to you're at your last shell, or you're firing down to, or you automatically reload the clip yourself with the C key. But again, the armor on this, there's next to nothing here. It's pretty much penning everywhere. You can get some miracle bounces here, like this, on someone in the turret if they aim up here, but your whole armor, there's next to no armor or anything here really on this tank. In terms of the upgrades, again, nice 10% increase on the damage shells. We like that. We, of course, the main thing here is to get this improved loading mechanism so you can get down the penalty if you have to do fire that shell. So penalty, as you saw there, added on about like maybe 4 to 5 seconds, if I saw that correctly. These stack. I've come to find out these actually do stack. So 0.4, 0.4, 0.4, you're already at 1.2, and then when you get to the final one, it does another 0.8. So you're getting down to an additional 2-second reduction of penalty for firing that final shell, which to me is massive. It's way how this tank works. And you definitely want some ammo in this thing. I come to find out I go through ammo in this thing frame, so you definitely want to get this ammo capacity. So I would just start out by going, I would get these few here, and like this. I wouldn't get this one. I would get this one like afterward. But first step is go through here. You get the engine power for the engine. But I would then get this, so you get that 3 extra degrees of gun elevation, which does help out on this tank a lot. And from there, just go in through here, get the aiming circle size, get your first thing through here with the loading mechanism, and then get that extra ammo here. Then I would go down and get yourself that little extra damage a shot, just because it helps. And then when you do the ammo tuning or whatever the perk that, I can't remember the exact perk that is for that, then you'll go from there. And then just boom, you got the gun stabilization, you get just all the things that you want for the accuracy on this vehicle. You'll go through and get through this. Because once you get what you want through here, I would at least stop right here for the turret for speed. Yeah, you can get that extra slot like this. Actually, I would get the extra slot here. So what I would do is after you get through here, then work your way, and you get this, get through here. I would work way down, and I would go all the way across till you get here. From here, I would actually start working my way up to this way, so you can, one, get more traverse speed with the dispersion, get that additional time, and just go from there. And not to mention getting the gun dispersion, more aiming circle size, more aim time. Like, just get the accuracies and stuff. So my first thing when it comes to the upgrades, go here, go up, just get the elevation because it will help you. Go straight across the ammo capacity. Then I would work down all the way across to here for the Imbattable. Because I do love this tank. It's one of right now the most underrated tier 11s, I think, as of right now. I love this thing really. In terms of cruise for this vehicle, I gotta switch my playlist up. Give me one moment. I apologize. For cruise on this vehicle, it's pretty standard. It's a three-person crew on here. I regret having this man. His voice is like nails to chalkboard for me. Brothers in Arms, repairs, emergency recon, coordination, pretty standard. Of course, the commander is also the radio operator, so you want to get situational awareness. You want to get firefighting, of course, because it. And with this being such a support vehicle, this is just my preference because I'm not going to be on front lines, but I don't want to be. If I can get my, this is just me. You could do side by side. You know, to get that increased perk and everything else. But I'm not trying to be front lines with this thing. I'm trying to pick situations. I'm doing a little sniping. I'm going back and forth between flanks and who I can ambush, who can I get those clip shots on, who can I hit. So me personally, I like the jamming perk just because of how I play this tank. Just so I can get that 1 second less of being spotted is such a good thing. You can make an option here for the final perk with the commander. I'm personally doing sound detection, just because I just recently noticed they added a additional thing to this. Before it was just it gave you alert about the SPG, but now they've added to where it decreased the negative effect of stunning by 10%, into which I think is a valuable thing when it comes to a vehicle like this, because you're not using a gun rammer. The only way you can do anything to increase the reload is through vents. So if you do get hit by an arty, just to be able to value that stun down is to me a good thing. And then of course gunner perks, brothers in arms repairs, me quick aiming just to keep up with that fantastic aim time, armor snapshot. I and then when I get to the final perk here, I guess I am not This is completely up to you guys. Like this, you could either go concentration, but you're not really going to be stationary too much with this vehicle. Um, at least in my opinion, I think afterward the final perk I'll get is for Deadeye, especially with the auto loader, because I can double tap that ammo rack or something. That'd be great. Then of course it's also your gunner here is also the lower, your loader. Which why ain't it showing me? I can show the other perks off. Huh, interesting. Ah, there we go. So then we got safe stowage, intuition is of course. And me, I'm using the ammo tuning just because I want that increased potential, raise that minimum of the damage or the penetration. You could choose Adrenaline Rush 2 at that point. You could choose Perfect Charge, but to me, this tank has very good shell velocity already. And of course, the driver, Brothers at Arms, Repairs, Engineer, Off-Road Ridings are a must. I'm working on Smooth Ride, and then afterward with it, this vehicle doesn't do too great with the ramming. I won't suggest really a ramming build on it, at least for right now. Um, Me personally, no, but I think afterward I will go for clutch braking on this vehicle as if I'm looking at the traverse speed. The traverse speed is actually pretty good, but you really want to make this thing whip around, I would definitely suggest doing the clutch brake on it because you're literally going from me 48 to 51, and that's fantastic. And so you can't go too wrong with that. And of course, I'm just using standard equipment right now. This is just what I'm using. I got vents, I got vertical stabilizers to keep helping out with that gun. Of course, when you get those upgrades, it may make vertical stabilizers null and void at that point in time. Make this, but we'll see once I get this thing fully upgraded. I may swap it into something else here. Haven't quite decided. May do something like hardening, maybe IRM. You know, but I got the turbo definitely to help out with engine power of this vehicle, also keep that top speed up to 70. So that's pretty standard on the equipment. Of course, I'm running food on the vehicle like this. This is just personal preference for me. I like running food on vehicles that are tier 10 and tier 11. So this is my insight with the Imbattable. I hope you guys, enjoyed my little tank review here. I hope it did help out on, give you an insight with mechanic on the vehicle, gave you a little bit, of what you can do with this thing. So I hope it was helpful. If you guys liked the vehicle, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Please leave the comments of what, again, I can keep improving with these series. These are something that I'm enjoying doing. I think just to help me with, my stuff that's going on. So, yeah, I guess I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys on the next video. Have a good one.